to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're covering Stage 10 of Finnish Brutality 2022, O-Course. And when you first walked up to this stage, it was a little underwhelming in the fact that it's on a small bay, and you're seeing two tables and one bar that's about right here on me, right below the edge of the screen here. You're thinking, okay, not a lot going on here, but that's where you would be wrong. So what did you have to do? The table far back was your rifle table. Between, at an angle, the other table was the bar that you had to get over, climb over, vault over, flip over, whatever you chose to do, you had to get over that bar. And then you get to the other table where your pistol is, and you have a target in front of you. Now each table had the same target ray in front of it. You had two no-shoot IPSCs very close together, giving you a sliver about head width between it to get your shot off and make your hit. If you hit the no-shoots, 60-second penalty. And you had to get 10 hits. And each shot, you had to go over that bar. Back and forth over the bar. Now, there are a few caveats here they took into account. First one was, if you couldn't get over the bar, what they did is they had cones set off the side, and you went around the obstacle 2 laps. And then you could go to your shooting position. Now, at your shooting position, if you didn't think you could make that shot, they had an alternate position. It was a few meters off to one side. You could go there, get an unobstructed view of the target. You just paid the time penalty getting over to that position and getting back to the table to ground your weapon. But that was a choice the shooter had to make. Like I said, this stage was a whole lot harder than it appeared to be. All right. Now we get started here. I probably should have taken this first shot from that position. I was not gassed yet, or hadn't started the stage yet, so that first shot would have been my best and most stable. Would have saved a few seconds there going between the targets and landing like a sack of potatoes there, messing up the GoPro. But I've got some good momentum here. I am definitely glad I decided to go to the alternate position instead of trying to make that pistol shot between the no-shoots. And mad props to all the guys in recon. Several members of my squad were doing recon on this stage, and at this point, before starting this stage, they'd run 27 kilometers. They did all this and then ran 3 more for a total of 30 kilometers for the match. Yeah, at this point I can't really say my rifle strategy was spot on, because it's taking me so long to get back and forth and line up on the shot that probably could have just lined up and shot by the table and not spent any more time. Took that miss there, but made it up real quick. Shows you how gassed I'm getting, but still getting the momentum to get over the bar. Now somebody said something in Finnish. I don't know what it means. I think they're yelling at me. But at this point, I'm getting so gassed that this probably didn't really cost me any time. And starting to get a little dizzy going over that bar, believe it or not. And motor's definitely running out of gas. And I kind of knocked the wind out of myself a little bit there, shaking it off though. And landing like a sack of potatoes. Believe it or not, I have just knocked the wind out of myself. I am seeing stars at this point. And getting that hit. Thank goodness. Not sure going over that bar again would have been a good idea. Little punchy there.
Time 152.35.
Shit.
152.35.
All right. So that was my run. Now, True Confessions Day Part 2, on the Friday before the match, I was RO for this stage as well. And I watched a lot of people go over it, and I watched a lot of people try different strategies. And the one thing I'd come to the conclusion was the people who were getting the best scores flipped over the bar. They didn't climb over it. They didn't jump up and stand on it and then jump down. They definitely didn't take the laps around it. So flipping over was going to give you the best time. So that's the strategy I went forward with. The other thing, as the RO, watching people shoot, I'm not physically exerting myself like these people are, nor had I been doing other stages and participating in other things. I was just managing that little bay. So while I was constantly moving, I wasn't covering large distances. And I'd come to the conclusion that, oh yeah, flip over the bar, grab your pistol, get your shot between the targets, flip back over the bar, get your shot with the rifle. Notice a lot of people would take a knee, stay in that shooter's box, brace off the table, get a nice solid hit. And then Sunday came. And it was my 10th stage. And I just come off stage 9, and I was pretty gassed. And took stock of the situation and had to just self-admit my condition. And so the first decision I made was I'm going to the alternate box. Because in my mind, if you got into that box ready to shoot, the time it took to get to the box and back to the table to place your weapon down and move on was probably the same or maybe even a little better than getting into the box, getting a stable shooting position, making sure you're precisely lined up to get through the target and get that shot, and then go and flip the bar and do the same thing with the other weapon. I definitely knew that I was gassed enough. My pistol shooting was going to deteriorate, and you saw in there, like one of the shots, I completely missed the target. Thank God I didn't take the shot between the no-shoots. Also, as this stage went on, I was getting more progressively gassed. In full armor, flipping over that bar takes a lot out of you. I made sure I had momentum when I hit the bar to carry me over because I actually saw a few people get stuck inverted on it. So I wanted to make sure I had my momentum. And that worked for me and against me. As you saw, I hit that bar and went over. And the last 2 times, I landed like a sack of potatoes, especially the last time. I went over, land, you can see I'm kind of pushing myself up and everything. I have completely knocked the wind out of myself. I mean, that's kind of why I am not even running to the shooting position. I am seeing stars, literally. I'm a little dizzy. So get there, get my hit, and thankfully they told me it was over. Because dizzy as I was, I'm not sure going over that bar was an option again, to be honest. So Brutality designed a devious little stage here. It's a whole lot harder than it looks. Like I said, I saw various competitors do amazing things on this thing. One, shout out to Christopher Elleras. He did Recon Division. This was his last stage in Recon Division, and he had run 30 clicks at this point and vaulted over the bar. Yep, that's right, just jumped over it, just like it was something like a foot off the ground. No, right over it. This thing's a little over a meter high. Yep, vaulted over it 10 times, no problem. And only picked up 1 penalty after doing all that. Also, I noticed a lot of shooters, they chose to shoot between the targets, and they made their hits, even though they were doing the same thing I was doing. So clearly they were more confident in their abilities. I will admit that when it was my turn and I was waiting for my turn, excuse me, I noticed there was a lot of pasted up holes on those targets. There were some people definitely collecting some misses there. So I really think my decision to go to the other box to have the clearer shot was the right decision. Did not do a whole heck of a lot for my score time-wise because I had a pretty slow time, I think at like 152 or something like that. But by not collecting penalties, there were a lot of people between me and dead last. So, well, definitely not the award-winning strategy for a stage, definitely not a bad strategy. So that's stage 10, and it wraps up Finnish Brutality 2022. Man, what a match. I can say unequivocally, without reservation, the toughest Brutality so far, and I didn't even do it in Recon Division. I am glad, since it was the 5th anniversary of Finnish Brutality, that I did it in Armored TST. That just seems appropriate for a Brutality match. This was straight up awesome stuff. Great match, a real challenge both mentally and physically. You had to bring your A game. Not that you don't to every brutality match, but definitely this one, you had to bring your good stuff or you weren't going to do well. And speaking of, overall, how'd they do? I came in 67th, exactly in the middle. So I pride myself, I beat half the Finns, but I have to admit the other half of the Finns beat me. It was a pretty great match. Can't complain, can't wait for next year. We hope you found this coverage of Finnish Brutality 2022 helpful and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in for future match videos.